This is Sound is Universal, hosted by Wunu, your weekly Universal news and updates.
And Ace of Coaster Roasters.
Now let's get straight into it.
Hello and welcome to our pilot episodes of Sound is Universal.
The podcast where we're going to talk about everything Universal, from food to attractions to VelociCoaster and everything else that you could ever want.
Yep. Today we have a few intro, kind of icebreaker questions that we're going to answer, and at the end we're going to have a special closing question for you guys to answer in the comments.
So you guys are going to get to know us, and we're going to get to know you at the end of this.
Yeah, let's get to the first question, which is, why are we so qualified to talk about this stuff? Why don't you go ahead first, Nani?
Well, I feel like that I'm qualified about this. First off, as of recording this, my channel is going to be a year old in about 5 days, and I think that I'm pretty qualified on this. I've talked about everything that's happened in Universal for over 50 weeks, and I've been studying stuff in Universal for a while now. I've been keeping up on the events, seeing everything that there is to know, knowing everything that there is to know, and the only thing that I can never get right is the stinking trivia on the Universal Orlando app, which always annoys me because I am like the king of Universal fun facts, and I always mess it up.
Okay, yeah, so I would say I'm qualified. I don't have nearly as much as Nani here, but I do have, some other stuff. For example, I am a coaster enthusiast. I have a coaster credit score of 64 as of now, and that's without duplicates. But I also have other things, like Universal is my home park. I go there a lot. Well, alongside that, I just have, for a while, I've been into all the fun facts, the little nooks and crannies of Universal, and I have to listen to this guy constantly rambling about it.
It's just I tend to talk about things whenever I have time, but we get through it. So as you can probably tell, we both know a lot about the theme parks. We've been around Universal for a lot of time, and we are very reliable sources most of the time. Sometimes I can be wrong, and I understand that.
Yeah,
but
I tend to shoot my mouth off about facts.
But nobody's perfect. Everybody's going to mess up a couple of times, and we are obviously not an exception. So let's move on to our next question, which is, what is your favorite and your least favorite ride in both parks?
Should we start with resort or islands?
I don't really know, but by both parks we mean islands and Universal Orlando Resort, just the original park. Now, we have never been to Volcano Bay, either of us, just because of pricing and things, yeah. So we're not going to talk about that one, and we're both very excited for Epic Universe, but obviously that's not open yet, so we can't talk about that.
We have not been to the Hollywood parks or the out-of-country parks.
Yeah, so we're kind of just talking about Universal Orlando, the original Universal Studios Florida Park, and Islands of Adventure.
Yes. So, who goes first on this?
Okay, so let's go for Islands of Adventure, and I'm going to take it first. What is your favorite ride in Islands of Adventure? Now, I have to say, it takes a lot of getting used to and being a Universal Orlando annual pass holder to actually learn to really like this ride, but I'd have to say that my favorite is actually Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. It is a state-of-the-art ride. I talk about it all the time. The theming is so good, and not to be weird or anything, but I was terrified of it the first time I rode it. It was so scary for me, but then I realized, like, a couple years later, that ride is so good because of how scary it is. Like, it genuinely feels like the rooms that you're in, that you know are very small and are all just made of mechanical things, genuinely feels like you're in a giant room with trees around you. The Whomping Willow seems huge and everything, and it all seems so actually real. Like, I understand that it's a very sickening ride, and it's a very odd ride to go on, but it's a very, very good ride in my opinion.
My favorite in Islands probably has to be the Hulk coaster. As I've said, I am a coaster enthusiast. I love roller coasters. I have never been on Hagrid's. Be aware of this, so I cannot compare it to that. But I do love the Hulk coaster because of the fact that drive tire launch, yet again, state-of-the-art stuff, and just the back-to-back, the on-ride soundtrack, and the immersiveness as soon as you step into the labs of the queue. It's just amazing.
Yeah, the Hulk is genuinely an amazing ride, and I'd have to say it's actually one of my favorite roller coasters ever. I love the first time I went on it, because I'd seen the Hulk before. When I went through the barrel roll right out of the launch, I actually looked up, and I saw all of Marvel Superhero Island underneath, upside down, and that was like, it's so memorable and amazing, and I just Wow.
Yeah, I went on it the first time because of the fact that I wanted to avoid going on Jurassic Park River Adventure. I was an absolute coward.
Everybody has to start off with some rides, even if that happens to be the first ever B&M multi-tire launch coaster that goes straight into a barrel roll. But whatever you want to ride, you can ride. And if you don't want to ride, you don't have to ride it. I just have to tell you, if you like extreme rides, Universal is your place. If not, maybe take a trip to Disney.
Yeah. Now, least favorite in Island. Okay, I'm gonna have to give the Cat in the Hat that title because of the fact that, be aware I am not one to get sick on a lot of rides. The only two in Islands that get me sick are the Forbidden Journey and the Cat in the Hat, but the Cat in the Hat is somehow worse than Forbidden Journey.
So, it's actually a pretty difficult question for me because I really like a lot of the rides. However, my question for this is this out of every ride, or are we like highly themed and popular rides? So like if I were to go and say like the Carousel.
No, it's fine to say stuff like Carousel.
Okay, so it's like any attraction. Yeah. Okay, so in that case, I'd actually have to say red fish, blue fish, one fish, two fish.
I completely forgot Kong was a thing.
Kong is a good ride.
Yeah, I mean, Kong
is one of the most impressive animatronics in all of Universal.
Hey, besides the animatronic, you are stuck with your head in an uncomfortable angle that will put a crick in your neck by the end of it. Okay,
obviously we disagree on this one. Mine is redfish, bluefish. Now I have to tell you, for the first experience on it, especially for like younger children, it looks like it'll be an amazing ride. It's cool. It sprays water at you. You need to follow the song or not follow the song if you want to get wet. And it's actually a really smart way of doing things. However, once you've been on it more than once, it really kind of loses its interest. The only point of going on it is because you can get wet.
Yeah, like, and if you're stuck on the other side of the park from all the water rides and want to go on a water ride.
Yeah, and it's like, if I want to get wet, I want to go on Popeye's Bojack Barges or like Ripsaw Falls or preferably Jurassic Park River Adventure because I actually really like that ride. The one fish, two fish, it doesn't get you that wet. The seats can be wet, and it's in the baking sun of Florida where it can feel like it's over 100 degrees, and that's not like me overreacting. The weather service will literally tell you that it will feel over 100 degrees in Florida.
Can confirm, I'm a skyborn spotter.
Yes, so like that all just happens, and it's baking heat, and though you get sprayed with water, you have to like actually try and stuff, and like I'm not saying that trying is a bad thing, but I feel like it's saying something that the carousel that I've been on twice has a higher rating for me than one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, which I just realized that I actually said the name wrong the past 2 times. But like it's not my ride. I love the High in the Sky Swoosh Trolley though. Yes. Like that is a masterpiece of a ride.
It's the best thing, and we have a memory of Nani here. He and I were together doing one of our little trips that we do sometimes, and we were on the High in the Sky Swoosh Trolley. He had his camera, and we go past where you can see the Hulk out from the left side. I'm sitting on the left, he's sitting on the right, and he shoves his camera right in front of my face.
Look, I'm just saying. That is some of the best pictures of the Incredible Hulk coaster I've ever had.
Yes, we need to get them into your videos sometime.
Yeah, I love some of the pictures I've taken there, and that was just with like a point-and-shoot camera because I hadn't actually built up the budget to get a proper camera at that point.
All right. Now, next one is going to be for the UOR Park, Orlando Resort.
Oh, yeah. So, you can start with this one. What is your favorite ride in Universal Studios Florida?
Well, this is stuck between 2, but, I'm going to have to give this one to Escape from Gringotts. Because of the fact that, sure, Hollywood Red Rocket is also really far up there. That one was, like, one of my favorite, it depends on the time of day, really. I would totally pick Red Rocket over it if it was night ride. I love night riding that.
It is amazing. It's terrifying, but it's amazing.
Yes, but Escape from Gringotts just has some emotional, like, some sentimental stuff to it, because when I really started getting into Universal, that was the first ride we hit when we went to the park. Yeah. It was my first time on a tilting track coaster, I just did not expect a lot of it. I had seen POVs of it. I knew that there was going to be a drop into darkness. I knew that there was going to be some roller coaster parts. I did not know it was going to go that far.
This is the one for me that's also kind of difficult, but mine's actually between two entirely different rides. I love Hollywood Red Rocket. However, it's not the best thing for me because of me getting like almost the sensory overload when boarding. I can't get my song right most of the time, and a lot of stuff doesn't work out the best. However, my two rides that is actually stuck between is Men in Black Alien Attack and The Revenge of the Mummy. Now, I really like The Revenge of the Mummy for the same reason I like The Forbidden Journey. I was absolutely terrified of that ride, which is why it did so good. And now I feel really, really, really stupid because that ride is 17 years old, and I was terrified of VFX, well, not VFX, but like physical effects from 17 years ago.
How did they get the Emotep animatronic that good?
I know, it's like, you can see how impressive that is. And, oh, just a fun fact about the Mummy. Did you know that there's actually still confrontation tracks inside of that building? Just on the ceiling?
Oh,
that
nice.
they never actually got rid of. But Men in Black Alien Attack is for the reason of, in my opinion, it is one of Universal's most successful dark rides. When it was created, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest dark ride in the world.
It still is.
It still is. And it is an amazing ride. I like the way that they do the shooter, and it's actually an ambient shooter ride where you can understand the story of it, but also have fun while shooting. And it's not a ride where you can, like, come up with some crazy hack thing, like Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger spin, where there's a couple of targets that you shoot and you win. Plus, they did an absolutely amazing job with making it so that it's not like you have to shoot their eyeballs. It's you actually shoot the aliens.
Yeah.
Not like
not a glowy target.
A glowy target or a part of the aliens. You shoot the aliens. And for a shooter ride, like, that's insane. It's an amazing ride. And this is where, as much as I love Revenge of the Mummy for being a classic and amazing ride, I have to give this one to Men in Black Alien Attack because of how good it is. Like, Mummy is an amazing themed ride. It is to the point that when you are walking through that queue, you genuinely feel, like, scared because of how good that queue is themed. And when you see Imhotep, it's scary. However, the one thing that the Mummy does not deliver on that Men in Black Alien Attack does is that it genuinely is well themed and the story is actually clear. Because, like, I was watching things about the Mummy years after being, like, riding on it, and it showed me some parts of the story that I didn't even know were there that are supposed to be, like, the clear story. And that's where, like, in Men in Black Alien Attack, you don't miss the story. The story is that you're in a training facility and then it gets, like, blown up and taken over by aliens.
We need either a proper pre-show, like pulling people into a room, dimming the lights and showing it, or to put the screens throughout the actual queue.
Yeah, and, like, with, I'll admit, at the end of Men in Black Alien Attack, you can almost see that they were running out of, like, budget and things to put in there. Because the final room, like, it has the alien part where you spin around, but before that, there's, like, almost nothing. Like, the facades go away and stuff like that.
The facades go away to focus on, Jay, as he's saying about that, there's the biggest bug we've ever seen.
Yeah, and, like, that's coming in, but, like, still, it's just...
You can see the wall in the background.
Yeah, and you don't want that in a ride.
Yeah.
And, like, the Mummy doesn't have that, but, like, for the purpose of being so revolutionary as the only shooter I've been on where you're not shooting targets, and actually, like, having good theming and a clear story that even if you don't like the ride, you can still pick up on, I have to give it to Men in Black Alien Attack. It's actually a really good ride.
For the least favorite, I'm pretty sure we share the same one.
Fast and the Furious Supercharged. Now, here's the thing I can tell you. I don't think this is, like, the worst ride ever. If this were plopped in the middle of a carnival, this would be the best ride ever.
Yeah.
But, like, that's about its extent. For a Universal-themed thing, like, here's my opinion on this. As part of the Studio Tram Tour in Hollywood, this ride works perfectly. It's kind of a mini attraction that they put on the tram tour. That's how you end it off. But as an attraction on its own, it really isn't that good. Like, this is a ride where I would go as far as to say that the pre-shows are better than the ride itself.
No, there's no practical effects in the ride. You had yet again, same with Kong. You had the awkward bending your head at one point.
Yeah.
There's some good illusions, but nothing really good. And that last scene, the screens are so corkily done.
And the one thing I do have to say is, like, as cool as the ride is, I see where they were going with how they were trying to do it. they were trying to kind of almost replicate the way that Pirates of the Caribbean works, where every time you go through, if you're looking for it, you will see a different story. Everything is written over top of itself, so every time you ride, you see something different. But for this one, it's just too much happening because it's all action-based. Not to mention, in the last room, as soon as you start, if you're sitting in the back, all you hear is when you go into the next room.
Yeah, and you come out smelling like shrimp, cringing from the fact of that stupid cell phone joke.
Yes. It's just, it is so, like, I can see how this ride could have an absolutely amazing potential if they did it differently, but from the way that they did it, it really isn't how, like, it isn't what it could have been.
The video game the character's face is.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on to the next question, which is, favorite event and why?
So, funny enough, my favorite event is an event I've never been to, and actually, I've never been to any of Universal's events.
Neither have I. Oh, I've been to one. I've been to Rock the Universe.
Yes. Now, I have to say, like, I haven't been to any events, and I know a lot about them. However, the one that I'm planning on going to this year is Halloween Horror Nights, because it's probably Universal's most popular event, and it looks absolutely amazing. The Beetlejuice house is coming out this year. Puppet Theater Captive Audience, which looks absolutely terrifying, is coming out this year.
Well, they did it right.
Yeah, and I'm excited to go, and I'm excited for everything about it. Now, that's not to say that Universal doesn't have other amazing events. Mardi Gras is awesome. The Flavors of Carnival food event that they did looked amazing and brought up so many foods I don't know how to pronounce that I need, like, a new dictionary for them. Then you have, like, the Christmas event, which is really cool. And, like, I've only really super dived into these events this year, so I don't actually know a ton about all of the events and how they normally operate. I just know how they've been operating during COVID. But I know that Halloween Horror Nights, I've been following that one for a while, and it looks amazing. So that would be my event.
Yeah, I'm going to probably have to agree with you on that. As cool as Rock the Universe was, Halloween Horror Nights does something that the rest didn't. And Nani knows about my obsession with the icons.
Yeah, it's a bit too much. She doesn't know about Cary, Ohio. How do you know about the icons but not Cary, Ohio?
That was, yeah. I know about, like, the backstories of all of them, and it was everything like that. And since the fact that we're ending up on a multiple of 5 for the number, there's a chance that we will be seeing an icon this year.
Yeah, the hope is that we'll be seeing an icon, and from speculation maps, there's a bunch of things about, like, Halloween Horror Nights icons uncaged, and Halloween Horror Nights icons houses and stuff. So hopefully it'll come up, because I think that would make a lot of people very happy, as usually, like, Sweet 16 and it was either 20 or 25 are considered the best ones because they're based on the icons. So maybe Universal will jump on that bandwagon again.
Yeah, because I'm the kind of person who loves things with theme parks that are originally done and inspire stories.
Yeah, which is kind of unlike the Hollywood one. However, I do have to give props to Hollywood because of how everything they have and their set designers and everything. Hollywood's Halloween Horror Nights is probably some of the most terrifying stuff I've ever seen.
Most terrifying stuff. Also, we need the terror tram. We need the terror
tram. Oh,
tram.
yes, the mystery terror tram. Like, we don't get that, disappointingly, because we don't have the studios tour. Mm-hmm. But, like, that would be awesome if they could set that up somehow.
Yes,
maybe they could repurpose Fast and the Furious to make a 3D terror tram. Yeah, I don't think anyone would care.
Make it, or, like, put something through the back lot, name it to the director. I don't care.
Yeah.
So next question is,
So we're talking a lot about favorites, and let's continue with that, with our next question being, what is your favorite restaurant, your favorite quick service restaurant, and your favorite snack?
Okay, so, favorite restaurant, Thunder Falls Terrace is my favorite out of the ones I've been to. The one I've been to the most is Richter Scale Burgers.
Which is really considered to be a pretty crappy burger place, which I feel kind of bad about. It's decent, like, it has the same stuff that, like, Burger Digs has. I just think that people don't like the theming of it.
It's kind of jarring sitting and suddenly hearing, like, the ground shaking and...
Yeah.
But I also do like the Digs, but...
The Digs is awesome. So for my favorite restaurant, I would actually have to choose Mythos. I've eaten at Mythos. It is a particularly more expensive restaurant. However, it has really good views. It has really good Did I say?
You said Mythos.
Ah, sorry. I really like the views at Mythos, but it also has really good food, and they're both amazing. The stuff is a bit expensive there, but it's kind of just like gourmet food that's really good.
I like Thunder Falls Terrace because of the fact that the food is different than everything else. It's a barbecue place, which is not normal for it. When we used to go to SeaWorld a lot, I liked Voyagers and places like that.
Yeah, and it's good to have places where you can just go for that.
Not to mention you can go out on the balcony and watch the river adventure cars splash down.
Which is awesome.
Yes.
The splashdown is awesome, I have to admit.
Yes.
Okay, so what's your favorite quick service?
Quick service, I'm gonna say Captain America Diner.
Captain America Diner. I mean, it's a funly themed one. Now,
I like that one because of the fact that you can look out from the windows and see every gag path.
true. Now, the thing with quick service in Universal Studios Orlando is that most of them serve the same things. So, what a lot of them...
I completely forgot the Leaky Cauldron.
The Leaky Cauldron is a cool one, but it's actually a separate quick service that has, like, special themed food.
Yes.
I'm trying to think about what my favorite would be, because I'd love to say, like, Krusty Burger, because that's a really good themed one for The Simpsons, but I've never actually eaten at Krusty Burger. So I'm trying to think about the places that I have actually eaten. Which I can only really think of Captain America Diner, because you just said that, and now I'm having trouble thinking.
I mean, the Diggs is quick service.
Oh, yeah, we did eat at Diggs a couple of... Okay, yeah, so I'm going to say Burger Diggs, and I actually am going to give this one a plus for something I've never actually seen, but I've seen virtually, which is the view out of that back window of the VelociCoaster Pavilion. That is the coolest thing ever.
The amount of times I've fallen down the stairs trying to get to the raptor hatching. Because of the fact you go up there and you hear the alarm at the nursery.
You're like, I want to see it! We need to get, like, some parkour master to just, like, jump off the balcony or something.
Onto the dinosaur and climb down.
Yes.
But both times I've fallen down the stairs trying to get...
Okay, so what's your favorite snack?
Favorite snack probably gotta be the lemon shaved ice they have at Port of Entry.
Port of Entry.
Sorry.
Port of Adventure. Okay. Does butterbeer count as a snack?
I mean, technically.
Okay, then butterbeer, hot butterbeer. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
Hot butterbeer, and also a fun thing.
Wispies are another good one.
They are. A fun thing. I never actually talked about this, but hot butterbeer is staying like forever. Like it normally is a winter type thing. However, it is now just here. They're not getting rid of it. So that's really nice.
Yep. Anyways, so with all of this talk about like the Burger Digs and everything, it's kind of making me think about Jurassic World a lot. So let's move on to the VelociCoaster.
So what are your thoughts on the VelociCoaster?
That's going to be amazing. We don't have a proper multi-launch outside of Tampa.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing ride, and it looks amazing. I've talked about this in my videos, but I've actually avoided watching POVs and stuff of it because I want to see it on its opening day.
I'm not going to spoil any of that. So, yeah, to avoid me shooting my mouth off, let's go on to our next question.
So, this next question is not as much of a question as it is actually a debate. The debate is Diagon Alley or Hogsmeade.
It's on Diagon.
Okay, so obviously each one of us had to take a different side. I think if it was our own choice, we'd probably both choose Diagon. However, I can definitely fight for Hogsmeade pretty well because it also has some awesome stuff in it.
Diagon Alley I'm sure Hogsmeade was first, but Diagon Alley does everything so much better. Everything is perfectly in theme, and the set design, even though it was made by the same person, from what Nani has told me.
Yeah, the set was actually designed by the person who designed the set for the movies too, so that it would be almost perfectly screen accurate.
Yeah, but from all of that, the set just seems so much better, and you see so much more of it than you do in the movie. You see the part off to the side. It's set up in a triangle. You have the main area where you're looking down at the bank, and then the area with the money exchange, and then where the butterbeer path the butterbeer thing in the corner that links back up to the main. So then that making that triangle. You only see that first pathway plus Nocturne, obviously, in the movies, but you don't see the other part of it.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, everything that she just said is completely true. Diagon Alley is amazingly themed and perfectly screen accurate, but that also goes for Hogsmeade too. Now, the only thing that Hogsmeade has that Diagon Alley does not have that makes it not as much screen accurate is Hagrid's, because even though Hagrid's Magical Motorbike Creature Adventure, I believe is what it's called.
Yeah.
It's a very long name. I can mix up the words sometimes. Is there? That's not actually a screen accurate thing. That like Dragon Challenge and all that. That is never there in Hogsmeade. Hogsmeade is all the stores, and the Hogwarts Castle actually is not that close to Hogsmeade.
Yeah.
So I understand that Hogsmeade is definitely not as screen accurate as Diagon Alley is. However, it does have some very impressive features, and one of them is actually its imperfection of being particularly realistic, the Hogwarts Castle. You cannot deny that that thing is amazing.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I know that they use a lot of forced perspective to make it look a lot bigger, but even without the forced perspective, it is huge.
Yeah.
Like, you look at it and you realize that the queue actually goes all the way up to the Botanic Gardens up there that are, like, super high up.
You can see all the way into it from, not into it, but you can see all the way to the spires from Fun Spot.
Yeah, and it's huge and it's crazy, and you can even see it from Jurassic Park because it goes over the trees and it's so huge and crazy. And I know I just said that, but like, it is so intimidating but amazing, and it genuinely feels like you're going into Hogwarts. And here's the one thing that kind of runs for both that I have to 100% praise on is the train. The Hogwarts Express is so hidden. You wouldn't even know it's there.
Yeah.
Like, you originally hear it and be like, oh man, I'm gonna miss out on a ride that feels like it's gonna be in the middle of everywhere and it's gonna make everything bad when you only get a one park ticket. But then you go and you're like, oh, it's just this little building off to the side. And then it's also the big part of when you're actually in that station, it is so cool. And I understand that King's Cross is a lot cooler than the Hogsmeade station, but both of them are themed amazingly, and I love the way that they do it. Plus, I have to also praise Hagrid's. Now, yet again, it's another non-screen accurate thing that is in Hogsmeade. However, the ride is amazing. It has multiple world records. It's more expensive than Expedition Everest was. It is huge. It's an awesome ride. It has animatronics. It has 7 launches. I think it actually has more than 7, but it's an amazing ride.
Something good in Hogsmeade that isn't in Diagon Alley is the amount of rides. There is 3 rides in not counting the train in Hogsmeade. Well, there's only 1 in Diagon Alley.
Yeah.
So that's big. Diagon Alley. The other thing is that Diagon Alley has more wand spots, but that's an exclusive thing.
Yes, and I have to give it to Diagon Alley. I can argue all day about how good Hogsmeade is. It is. It has awesome wand spots. It has, what's the sweet store?
Honeydukes.
Honeydukes. And it has, good food and stuff. Mm-hmm. However, Diagon Alley is going to win. It is so much better themed. You can see other places when you're in, Hogsmeade, but you cannot when you're in Diagon Alley. There's the barrier and all that stuff in King's Cross, and every single store is themed in both of them, which is something amazing. I can give to them both.
The only time you can actually see Diagon Alley is you can see the tail of the dragon from certain areas.
Yeah, and it's they're both absolutely amazing parts of the park, and they're both revolutionary and amazing, and I think that a big part of why Diagon Alley is actually so much better is because Hogsmeade kind of paved the way for it.
Yes.
So,
anyways, to wrap up this, we have a closing question for you guys.
So, our closing question is a question we want you to answer in the comments so that we can get to know more about you. We'll talk about your replies and what we think of them in the next episode. So, our closing question is,
if you could replace any ride in either of the main theme parks, meaning Islands of Adventure or Universal Orlando Resort, so to be replaced with another ride, what would it be and why?
Yes, and this doesn't mean we tell you what's going to be replaced. You don't get to choose what it's replaced with. You have to choose one attraction that's going to close and is going to have something else in there. And you can't use Fast and the Furious because we all know that one's going to get closed soon enough.
So anyways, thank you so much for watching. We can't wait to see you in the next video.
Yes, thank you so much for watching my almost half-an-hour video. If you've made it this far, you're a living legend. Thank you for making it here. If you find these interesting, subscribe. You'll get notifications for when they come out.
And maybe drop me a subscribe too.
And we'll go ahead and see you in the next Sound is Universal. Goodbye.
Bye.